Hi, and welcome to episode 5 of the Jam Gamecast. My name's Matt, and I'm your host, here with my brother Jim. What's up, Jim?
Hey Matt, what's up? Good to be here. What's up, everybody listening?
Alright, so it's been a few weeks since our last podcast. So tonight's episode, we have a topic we want to talk about here. We want to talk about tips for collecting and tips for picking up games on the cheap. Um, we talked about it, and we thought that this might be a helpful podcast. Jim, do you have any thoughts on the topic?
I guess my main thought is, always checking out the markdown bins or the retail bins at the stores such as GameStop or Best Buy. I was recently at a Best Buy and they had a lot of new games that were out actually, or not new necessarily, but like there were still brand new copies, not played before. There was a bunch of games for around $20. I saw games such as Shadow of Mordor, which is a game that's on my list. I was taking a look at that as I was there picking up a few other things. And there was a bunch of other games. I think either the current Grand Theft Auto or the one right before that was in there for the same price, and then that was on the Xbox side, and then PlayStation had a few games on their shelves that were marked down. And then again, for GameStop, they have the trade-ins a lot, but I'm always kind of iffy with those because you never know what you're going to get with the trade-in.
Yeah. It's a good suggestion. The bins. I know Walmart is always good for their bins. And I haven't seen one recently, but sometimes you'll see like they'll just have a big bin and it'll say like $5 on there, and it'll just be a bin full of. I think the last time I saw was PS3 games or whatever, and it's every game in there is $5. So that's definitely a good tip. Um, I kind of want to back it up a little bit, and we'll talk more about specific stores and what to look out for. But what I wanted to talk about first is following prices. I think it's a good tip for people to actually look at prices and be aware of what games are going for and what they're worth. Whether you follow them on eBay or in your local stores, like Jim mentioned, GameStop, Walmart, Target, Best Buy. You want to be aware of what the game is actually going for and what the average price of the game is. Then you'll know whether or not you're getting a good deal because you know what the game usually goes for.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And do you find that the prices fluctuate with the quality of the game? Like if it was a popular game, or for example, the age of the game, if it was like a game that was released like a couple years ago, maybe one of the first Xbox One or PS4 games.
Yeah, I would say more so age. Age definitely plays into it. I mean, you're always gonna be paying a higher price when the game is new. I would say within the first year that the game is released, you're gonna be paying a higher price for it. Um, if you can wait and you don't need to play the game right away, I'd say it's always a good suggestion to at least wait a while, wait a year or so for the game to get reduced. I mean, me personally, I'm kind of cheap when it comes to buying games, so I like to play as low as possible for games. Um, I can't bring myself to pay more than like $20 for games. For me, I mean, with exception, there are games that I paid higher prices for, but especially like newer games, I just can't. I can't bring myself to pay more than $20 for a game.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There are only a certain like a few certain series that I will go out and buy the new game in the series right away and pay top dollar for it just because I want to play it so much. I did that with Fallout 4 when it came out. At the latter part of 2015. And I also did that with the most recent Kingdom Hearts HD 2.0, whatever the title of that game was, because that was a game I had been following for a while and that I wanted to play. However, there are some games that are on my list, such as Horizon Zero Dawn, that I'm just kind of still holding off on because I would like to play it, but I'm not dying to play it.
Yeah, yeah, and that kind of I'll let that lead me into the next thing I wanted to talk about, and that's on eBay. And the last game that I purchased, well, I will say the last new game I purchased off of eBay was Persona 5. Um, and like I said, I usually don't like to buy new games right away, but there's so much hype behind this game that I wanted to get it right away, and it'll be the next game that I play. So I didn't really want to wait too long, but I still got a decent deal on it. And what I did is, and I buy a lot of my games through eBay, and I got that game, I got Persona 5 through an offer now on, or an offer on eBay. So what I did basically is I go on and I search the game I'm looking for, and in this case it was Persona 5. And you can change your search options and, narrow it down to what you want to search for. So I put in Persona 5 and I said, newly listed, and I put in, you know, search for sellers that have, you know, that are selling it where you could put an offer on the game. So I found one seller. I think he was asking, I think, like $65 for it, which is about what you would pay in the store. So first of all, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna pay $65 for this game off of eBay when I could just go to Target and get it for the same price. I think it's $59.99 plus tax. It comes out to about 64 bucks. So I was like, I want to get a decent deal off this. So they had an offer on there, where you could put in an offer. So basically, I think I sent them an offer for God, what I think I offered about $45 in my first offer. Now, people out there might be thinking like, "Oh, you're one of those people who lowball." First of all, if you want to call that lowballing, fine. I don't really have a problem with that though, because in my mind, if you're accepting offers, then you should expect to get low offers or any type of offers. Second of all, you could put something on eBay if you're a seller, where if somebody offers it too low, it just automatically denies their request. So, that's another thing. So people out there, don't be afraid to offer, especially on your first offer it low, because there's negotiation is part of it, especially when they're accepting offers. So you're going to go in low knowing that that's not what they're going to accept, and you're ultimately have that number in your head that you would pay and offer lower than that, because if you go ahead and offer your highest point right away, they're probably, I would say 9 times out of 10, they're going to deny that first offer. So in your first offer, don't offer your highest maximum that you would pay. Offer a little bit lower. So I offered $45. To me, I was like, well, that would be that's a really good deal if you could get that. I didn't expect them to accept that. So of course, they came back with a counter offer. I think they countered at like, $57 or something like that. Still a little bit more than what I wanted to pay, because I think there was like $3 shipping on there too. So I think ultimately, after going back and forth a couple times, the maximum you can go back and forth, I think you can submit 3 offers. So finally, I ended up paying $52, and that included the $3 shipping. So I got the game for $52. So I got it for about $12 cheaper than what you would pay in a store. It's a brand new game, you know. Um, so to me, that's a great deal. So I mean, that's always something to look out for. If you're looking for games on eBay, look for people that are accepting offers. If they're accepting offers, it means they're willing to negotiate with you. Now, some people are a little bit, they're not as into negotiating as other people. Some people will like offer, you'll come in with your initial offer and they'll come back like 50 cents less than their asking price, And to me, that's like, come on. If you're accepting offers and you're only going to go down 50 cents, to me, that's why you even bother in accepting offers.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, definitely.
but yeah, that to me on eBay, it's always a good idea to look for people that are accepting offers on a game that you really want to buy. Now, you're gonna pay a little bit more. I found if you do like an offer, if you do an offer or you do a buy it now. I hardly ever do a buy it now unless it's a rare game that hardly ever comes up or something like that. But mainly on eBay, I do auctions. Um, to me, I found that you can get games the cheapest through auctions on eBay.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Especially for games that are on your list, or a game that has been on your radar for a while, but again, you're not in a rush to really get. So if you lose out, it's no big deal. Like I would think if it was a game that I really wanted, I think I'd probably just go ahead and maybe pay the whole price of what they were asking for, if it was like that rare, like you said, that rare game.
Yeah, if it's a rare game or like you said, something that you need right then and there and you can't wait, then yeah, you do buy it now. But if you can wait, you don't need to play it right away. Like I said, follow the prices. Always check eBay for what they're going for. Check your local store. Be aware of what the game on average goes for, and then follow the auctions on eBay. To me, that's how you get the cheapest games. Now, what I've been doing a lot is I'll go on eBay, and of course, like I usually search. First of all, I'm usually searching for RPG games. And I'm usually looking for PSP RPGs or DS RPGs or something like that. Now, those systems are old. They're not producing new games for them. Um, so you can get games for really good prices for those systems on eBay. So what I'll do is I'll go into the newly listed. I go to newly listed. I search for, usually I only search for the US for the location of the game, and I search on auctions, and usually since I find them under the newly listed, usually people haven't put bids on them yet, so they're usually at zero at that point. And I've got so many games, especially for like the DS and PSP, for like $1 or $2, because people aren't really necessarily looking for those games still, and they're just old games. So you follow the auction, you watch it. Usually, if there hasn't been any bids on the games, I'll usually put a bid on it, because sometimes if nobody bids on them right away, the people will just take down the auction because they don't think anybody's interested. But so usually I'll put in a bid. If there's already a bid, I'll just watch it. And people, I can't stress this enough. Do not bid on stuff until the very end of the auction. To me, it's crazy when you get these people that come in and there's like 5 days left on the auction and they're bidding like $20, $30. I'm like, dude, just relax and wait till the very end. I don't think people understand. If everybody waited till the very end and put their bids in then, the game will go for so much cheaper. You'll get the game so much cheaper if everybody would just wait. Now, it's kind of preaching to a brick wall about that, because people, that's never going to happen. People will put in their bids whenever they're going to put in the bids. But it just frustrates me so much, because I'm like, if people would just realize that if everybody just waited to the end, these games would go for so much cheaper.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. Just kind of, again, it just harkens back to, if you know it, the more you wait, I think the better you'll be able to be, and you'll make it a lot better getting games that you want.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Um, so yeah, so we talked a little bit about eBay. Um, you can also find, and we kind of, you touched on this earlier, Jim. You can find good deals at your local stores too. I mean, be aware of sales that our stores are having. Be aware of coupons, or special deals that are, stores are offering. You always hear about, lately, one that comes to mind is like GameStop. They've been offering good trade-in deals. If you come in and trade in games and you're putting it towards a Switch or Nintendo Switch stuff, they'll give you like 50%, and like that's a great markup that they're giving you so much more money than the game's actually worth if you're putting it towards a Switch. So I mean, if you want a Nintendo Switch, that's an excellent deal. So be aware of deals like that, because then you can get whatever you're looking for, whether it be games or consoles or whatever. You can get good deals at local stores too.
Yeah, I would definitely have to, agree with that. Again, my experience, recently at the Best Buy, I just kind of, there was one specific game that I was looking for. I mean, they didn't have it. 'Cause if they did, I was going to go ahead and pull the trigger on it, but didn't have it in any of the Xbox bins that I was looking for.
What game were you looking for?
I was looking for Call of Duty Black Ops 2. It's a 360 game, but it recently got added to the backwards compatibility, I guess, offerings for the Xbox One. Okay. And a lot of Call of Duty pros that I kind of follow were saying that was like their favorite, what they call boots on the ground game, Call of Duty game, before the current iterations where they have like basically exosuits where you can run off of walls and jump really high and stuff like that. It was really kind of more realistic type of game.
Isn't the next Call of Duty coming out? Aren't they going back to like? Isn't it going to be like a World War II game or something?
Yeah, it's actually called Call of Duty World War II, and it's going back to that era, which is where they started out as.
Okay, yeah, I think people enjoy that a lot more than their space Call of Duties.
Yeah. The most recent Call of Duty was basically Halo, but Call of Duty. You had an AK-47 instead of like a laser rifle, which you still had a laser rifle actually.
Now, I find it interesting too that you're saying that the Best Buy you went to, they had bins of games there, because I can't, to tell you the truth, I can't remember the last time I saw a bin in a Best Buy full of games.
Yeah, it was actually the only bin that it was for was it was like a mix of Xbox One and a mix of Xbox 360 games. They had marked down. They also they did have a bin as well for mostly PS3 games, but there were a few PS4 games sprinkled in there as well. Like I believe for PlayStation 3, I saw another one of those like weird Kingdom Hearts titles. It was like a final mix, like 2.5 type of game or something.
And what console was that for?
That was PlayStation 3.
Okay. Yeah, the bins are always good. Like I said, I know I've seen them at Walmart's. I can't remember last time I saw a game bin at a Best Buy, though. And also, like, I think it kind of changes for your location, too. I mean, I think we live in a tough area for gaming. And for like collecting games, and we live in a large metropolitan area. So it's right near a big city, so I mean there's a lot of competition out there. I know when I go yard sailing and stuff like that, and the garage sales or flea markets in the area, I hardly find anything good because it's such a competitive thing, and I kind of refuse to really hustle and bustle about it. That's just not my style. I'm not going to show up to a 8 a.m. Yard sale and I'm not going to show up at like 6:30 like some people do and be waiting in my car outside. I think that's just kind of creepy, to tell you the truth, but
Yeah, that is pretty creepy.
yeah, but yeah, it's very competitive in our area, and the same thing I was finding with the Switch too. It was hard to find the Switch in our area, and I know when I finally got my Switch, which spoiler alert, that was going to be talked about in my recent pickups, but it just kind of is good for this topic that we're talking about. I recently got my Switch a couple weekends ago, and I finally got it, and I was excited about it. And I'm in the Facebook groups where gaming Facebook groups, and I posted in there like, oh, I finally found one, and some people were like, that thing's not hard to find. My like local Target has like 10 of them, and I'm like. And like they were kind of being like, that's not hard to find, and I was just like, well, in my area it's been really hard to find. I think now, I would say a couple weeks ago when I got mine was sort of the turning point for it, where it finally became easier to find. But before that, I never saw one. Before I bought my Switch, I never saw one in person before that point, and that was 2 weekends ago.
Wow, yeah, I mean,
And the same thing with the NES Classic. Now, I think it's pretty universally hard to find, but in our area, it's been crazy. Like, lines, super long lines everywhere, And then I see other people post on the Facebook groups. They're like, oh, just walked in my Target today. They had, like, 3 NES Classics. I'm like, where do you live that they have 3 NES Classics just sitting on the shelf? And I think it's in those less like populated areas, those real rural areas where like there's not a lot of game collectors out there, and people just have better luck in those areas.
Yeah, if I lived in one of those areas, I might pick up a few copies of the game or a couple systems, and then take to an Amazon or an eBay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not necessarily promoting people to go out and buy them and then scalp them or something. But I also don't think there's any issue with you picking something like that up and picking up an extra one and then making a little extra cash on them. And then you can put that extra cash towards, more games or more consoles, whatever you want to buy.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so I mean, that was just sort of a little tangent. But I mean, I think definitely sometimes your location definitely plays into strategies for buying games. So I kind of want to also talk about, we were talking about your local stores and stuff. Be aware of clearance. I've been doing really well with clearance lately. I got one thing that comes to mind. Well, I have a few things that come to mind, but one thing that comes to my mind, just I would say maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I got this, but I got Bayonetta 2 at my local Target for $8 because it was on clearance. I don't know why it was on clearance just randomly, but I know the days, I think in our area, they always put stuff on clearance on like Tuesdays. So I know, like, if I have some extra time, I'll just stop in Targets on Tuesdays because I know they put stuff on clearance. And I found Bayonetta 2 on clearance for $8. Now, I still see that game being sold currently, still in Targets and stuff like that. And it's not ever universal too. I think it's really just based off of individual stores, because for whatever reason, my local Target was selling it for $8. I guess they want to clear out, their stock of it, or they had extras or whatever. But they had it on clearance for $8, so I got that game for $8. Now, you could go to the same Target the same day, or I'm sorry, go to a different Target on the same day, and that usual going price for that is like $39.99, and a different Target on the same day might still only be selling it for $39.99. So it's all individual, I think, too. So kind of be aware of when your stores or local stores are having clearance deals. I have a couple other ones I'll talk about too. Is recently, and this one was Walmart. I knew that Walmarts in the area were having clearance deals on video game stuff. And I saw people posting on it on my Facebook groups and stuff like that. So I went to my local Walmart to see if my Walmart had anything for clearance. I got I got Xbox One controllers. I think it's the like camouflage edition or something like that. I got 3 of those Xbox One controllers for $15 each, which is a great deal. Like $15 for an Xbox One controller wireless. That's an amazing deal.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy deal.
And I we went to that Walmart. I got the deals, and then we're like, well, let's, me and my wife, we were like, let's go to another Walmart. So we went to the other Walmart, went in there. They had no clearance items, and they were selling the same exact camouflage Xbox One controllers for $65.
Jeez,
So
man.
that's what I'm saying too. It's all individual stores. I think it all depends on this kind of stock each store gets. So, just don't look at one store in your area. Be aware of the different stores in your area, and be aware if, the days that they start having clearance deals or sales.
Certainly.
All right. And then another thing, we touched on GameStop a little earlier. Um, and recently, the Nintendo Switch is out now. So I've noticed recently GameStop is phasing out their Wii U games, which basically means is, they're trying to get rid of the Wii U games that they have. So they have good deals on them now. Now, they're not incredible deals or anything, but they're still going for a little bit less than what they were going for. So you always want to be aware, if a new console comes out for a certain company, of course the previous generation's consoles games are going to be going for cheaper.
Yeah, definitely. I found that actually, with some Nintendo DS games in the past, was able to get them for cheap at GameStop. The one downfall was that I just got the cartridge. I didn't get the case or anything.
Oh yeah, I hate that. I refuse to buy games from GameStop that don't have the case, unless it's a really really rare, hard to find game. I will not buy a game if it doesn't have at least. I don't really care as much about the manuals, but it has to have the original case with the original artwork. And I it bugs me so much that they get rid of the cases for the 3DS and DS games. Not so much the 3DS, but the DS games. They just throw them out. That's why people
Yeah,
are. That's why
I
people
find
are
that
always.
annoying too.
That's why people are always dumpster diving at their locations, because they know that they throw those things out. Now, but that also kind of leads me to another tip. Now,
What,
game.
dumpster diving at
No,
GameStop?
no, no, no. I mean, if you want to, I would never dumpster dive. I would never willingly jump into a thing full of trash just to find a case for a game. But that's not to say if you're into that, hey, that's fine. It's free and you can't beat free. So, if you want to dumpster dive, that's fine. I don't think I could physically do it. I would be too scared to, like, jump on a rat or something like that, or something disgusting. but
Yeah.
uh but anyway, yeah, it kind of makes me think of another tip. GameStop doesn't value cases. So if you have a case for a game that's like a hard to find game or a rare game, you can trade in that game to them and they'll still give you the same exact price, trading credit or cash, whatever you're getting. They'll give you the same amount whether it has the case or it doesn't have the case. So if you have a case, if you have a game and it's a hard to find game, you can trade in the game itself to GameStop, get the same amount of credit, and then you could go on eBay or something and sell the case for a decent amount of money if it's a hard to find game, you know?
Yeah, I see that a lot in GameStops and most recently in Best Buy, where there were a lot of copies of games that were just in like maybe a clear DVD case, and didn't have any of the cover or anything to go with it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just the disc sitting in there, which I'm not a fan of that buying those types of games either.
yeah,
I
yeah.
want the full game, and I want the case as well.
Well, and I mean it could be, now if you do it right, it could work out for you if you were just to buy the game. I think some people call it Frankensteining a game together, where basically and I kind of do it myself sometimes on eBay. Um, for example, one time I was on eBay and I was just cruising through the listings, and I found somebody selling the box, just the box, the like outer box for the Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is a Wii U game. It was like the special edition outer box. I found somebody selling it, so I watched, and it was at zero. It was at zero. So I watched it, and then like with like a few minutes left, I bid $1 on it, and I won it for $1. So I was like, well, I know I'm gonna get this game at some point. It'll be cool to have like the outer case for like the collector's edition. So I got the collector's edition case or box for $1, and then I bought the game and I put the game into it. Now I don't have like the special edition book or CD that goes along with it, but I still have the game and the cool collector's edition box. And same thing, I recently found I think it was like maybe like a month or two ago, I purchased a Bravely Default 3DS game case. Now I just got the case, but I got it for $1. And anybody that knows 3DS games, that game is insanely expensive on the resale market, considering it's a 3DS game. Like that game goes for $30 plus, and it goes for $30 plus with or without the case. It goes for the same exact price, which blows my mind. I can't understand why just a cart goes for the same amount as like a complete copy, but it does. Because I bought the case knowing that I want to get the game, and I'm thinking like, oh well, I could probably find a cheap like cart only sale on eBay, and then I'll have the whole entire game complete for a really cheap price. Well, I haven't been able to find the just the game for a cheap price because, like I said, I'm cheap and I only want to pay around 20, 22 bucks, 21, 22 bucks for the game, considering I already have the case. But even just the cart only are going for over $30, and I refuse to pay that because that's what the complete in-box games go for too. So I'm like, I'm not paying the same price for just the cart when for the same price I could get it complete. I want to get a good deal. But yeah,
No, yeah, certainly.
that's another tip. If you just want to buy the game first and knowing that later on you could get the case for it, that's always an option too. You could get a cheap deal on the disc because it's disc only, and then you can get a cheap deal on the case because it's only the case, and then ultimately you'll pay less for the entire, complete in box than you would if you bought it all at the same time. How about you, Jim? You have any other suggestions for people out there?
Um, I mean, I kind of just watch Amazon.
Yeah, you're a big Amazon guy. Can you talk a little bit about the culture and how things work on Amazon? Which kind of leads me, if you want to talk about the good deal Amazon has on new games, which I think I recently informed you of.
Yeah, inform me of that. Well, in regards to buying games, a lot of times there will be new brand new games or used, and a lot of times they'll rank like they'll like I guess it's condition like they're in it's like brand new, like new, good, not so good, and then so on, and then they kind of brand new, they is the highest prices, and then but there will kind of be tiers within the tiers. Like, so, say a game's, $60 brand new, you could actually maybe even, depending on the seller, get down to, 40, $30 for some brand new games. And then sometimes some of the new games are, more expensive than that. They're, full price or, $50 or so. So I always try to go with either a brand new game, at the cheapest price, or a new game.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people put a lot of stock into like the whole, like, for lack of better terms, I'm kind of a comic book guy too, but people put a lot of stock into the grade of the game. Like you were saying, like new, or whatever you want to call it, new, very good, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people put a lot of stock in that. I don't necessarily do that. More so, I'm like, what I think about, I'm like, is it original and does it play? Because ultimately, I want to play the game. Um, so that's pretty much all I worry about. Some people, will only buy stuff that's in like perfect mint condition, and to me,
That's kind of how I am. I won't, if I don't have to, I won't pay full price. But I like to, at least, pretty much 100% convinced that when I put the game into my Xbox or my PlayStation 4, that it's going to boot up and it's going to sync with everything, and I'm going to be able to play it right away. I don't really like to kind of have any worries or concerns where maybe this isn't, or maybe there's a scratch on the disc, or what have you, or maybe this person's pulling the wool over my eyes.
yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, there's definitely people out there that are, you know, not honest about, their listings and what they're selling and everything. I mean, me personally, I don't ever really pay attention to like condition or anything like that. Um, and I've never, luckily, knock on wood, I've never come across a game that I purchased off eBay or whatever and it hasn't worked. And I don't pay attention to the condition or anything. I just look for if they say it works, and if they say it works, I'm like, okay, cool. Um, that's all I ever work for. And if they don't say it works or not, I'll send them a message and say, hey, does this game work? Is it complete in box, or is it just the disc? If they don't say in the listing, I ask. You always want to make sure you ask, because if you don't ask and then you buy something and then it say you order a game and it only comes as a disc, and you're like, well, wait a minute, I expected the whole complete thing. They can always say, like, well, I never said it was complete, I just said I'm selling the game. So you always want to make sure you ask. That's another good tip for people. Make sure you want to ask. If they're not clear about it, ask them. There's an option in eBay where you can message a question to the seller, and you always want to ask just to be sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then I guess it's on to the what you brought made me aware of, which is the special deal that Amazon, if you're an Amazon Prime member, the special percent off that they offer on brand new games. I think you said it was what 20% off.
Yeah, I believe it's Amazon offers Amazon Prime participants 20% off of brand new games. So when the game first comes out, you automatically get, and you buy it off Amazon and you're a Prime member, you get 20% off right away, which is absolutely amazing for brand new games.
Oh yeah, it's great. I'm not sure if I ever really took notice to it, or I might have seen those games, but just kind of thought didn't really think anything of it. Because again, I just kind of I haven't really bought like any brand new games. I've bought I guess Overwatch, but I guess it was probably like a few months old at that time. It wasn't like a recent release, so I didn't really notice then. And the same with when I purchased Diablo 3. That game had been out for a few years, so I didn't notice anything then.
Yeah, and I don't know the time frame on it. I don't know what they consider brand new games. Like if it's like the first month or first 2 months. I don't know the time frame on it, but I know that they, if it's a brand new game and it just came out, they offer 20% off of it. I don't know how long it lasts for though.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm going to keep in mind with because they always Prime always, or on Amazon, they always offer where you can order something ahead of time too. So I'm going to see how that is. Again, for a game like Kingdom Hearts 3, whenever, if that game ever comes out.
Yeah, it's a good question if they offer 20% off of pre-orders as well. That's a good question. That would be a good thing to find out.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm going to research and look into.
All right. You have any other tips?
Um, I guess that's pretty much my those are my main tips. I know that you kind of touched on going to yard sales or flea markets, and I believe you've also gone to some like game centric like gatherings. I guess you might call them like conventions.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to check out. You can always find good deals on games at yard sales. I went yard sale a couple weekends ago, and the only gaming thing I picked up was a Wii. Um, I got it for about $20. Not a great deal, but not a bad deal either. Came with all the wires and stuff like that, all original Nintendo brand wires and everything. So, not a bad deal for a Wii. Um, so yeah, you always want to check out garage sales, yard sales, flea markets. You can always find good deals on games. If you get there early, you have the best pick out of stuff. So yeah, they're always good to check out. And then like Jim mentioned, you want to go to your local retro gaming stores. Hopefully, you have good ones in your area. Sometimes I know they can be a little overpriced because they all have rent to pay and they're renting the store space, so they're going to be a little bit more expensive than yard sales or eBay or something like that. But yeah, go to your local retro gaming stores too. They're always if you can't find something, they'll find it for you, or they have it, or they'll order it for you, something like that.
Yep, of course.
All right, any other tips?
No, I believe that those are my main tips that I had.
Yeah, and I kind of exhausted all the points I wanted to talk about as well. I don't really have any other points or topics I wanted to bring up. Um, so let's move on to our next topic, which is one of our usual topics. Jim, what have you been playing lately?
Mainly been playing Smite, which is pretty much my main game at the moment. I really like the competitive nature of the game, and it's really, just being able to, you, you know, uh, turn the game on if I can only play for 45 minutes or an hour, and not really have to worry about getting to a save point or anything like that when playing an RPG. I can just play a game or two, a match or two, and then turn everything off if I'm not able to continue playing. But then, I also have played a new MOBA a couple times. It's called Gigantic, which is another free to play game on the Xbox. From the Xbox Live store. So I downloaded that, and I played a couple matches, and I played a couple of like just straight practice rounds. It seems pretty interesting. Still kind of getting used to the meta or the flow of the game. And then I played and actually recently beat this game. It's called Ryse Son of Rome. It's a very interesting alternate history game set in the I guess the mid stages of the Roman Empire. It actually didn't really give any dates, but the reigning emperor at the time was Emperor Nero, and they had a kind of portrayal of him as a fat bumbling fool who was a coward. And he actually played as a soldier who rose through the ranks from enlisted legionary to centurion to general, which was very very interesting, and kind of got to fight in the in the Colosseum in some gladiatorial matches, which was very interesting. Also got to go to some different parts of the Roman Empire, such as Britannia, and fight against the Wild Britons at that time, which was again pretty interesting factor.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that last podcast too that you were playing this game.
Yeah. So Ryse, again, it was Ryse Son of Rome, and actually this will kind of just roll, I guess as part of the next topic. I actually downloaded it from the Xbox store because I'm a gold member on Xbox, which I pay $10 a month for, and then every month they have 3 games that you can download, included in your membership. So it was free to download, so I downloaded it and played it. I thought it looked interesting, and got a nice little surprise. Wasn't really a fan of some of the fights that they had you do. I thought they were kind of repetitive. Kind of reminded me of the original Assassin's Creed, where you'd be sword fighting against a half a dozen enemies, and it's hard to lock on and just fight against one. You keep switching.
Right. But ultimately a good game though.
Yeah, really enjoyed the story aspect of it. Kind of going with the alternate history factor. I really am interested in those types of storylines.
Now I can't remember if I asked you last podcast, but is that digital only, or is there a physical version of that game as well?
There is a physical version of the game. I believe it came out a few years ago, but again, when you just get it, with these free to play games from Xbox Gold, obviously you just download it directly from the store.
Right. Right.
So I mean, which I kind of like, because then now that I'm done with the game, I can just kind of go ahead and remove it.
Right. That's a good point. You can always just get rid of it. Now, talk a little bit more about this new MOBA you're playing, especially since you're our MOBA expert here on the channel. It's a brand new one, or has it been out for a while? Or
the game, it's from what I've seen, from what I've read, it's been in beta since 2015. So I'm not sure if that was the latter part of 2015. And it just kind of seems like one of these games where they're trying to get the funding while the game is out, because they have in-game currency, which is in the form of like gemstones or rubies or something. And you can obviously go to their store and buy. I think the most you can spend is like $100, and you get like a few hundred rubies. And that helps you get in-game heroes that you play as in the matches. Because you start out, if you just download the base game and don't purchase any of the packs that they have about 4 or 5 heroes that are just free to play on rotation, out of maybe the 20 or 30 heroes that they have right now. And then again, you can go ahead and purchase amounts of rubies, which you do earn slowly throughout through playing more matches that help you purchase a singular hero.
And how does it match up with other MOBA games? Is it as good? Is it not as good?
Well, I mean, I've played, I can only speak for the three MOBAs that I've played, which are Smite, which is my main MOBA, Paragon, which is on the PlayStation 4, and this new game, Gigantic. I call it new because it's new to me. I actually think that it's better than Paragon. I haven't really played Paragon much lately, so I didn't really like the way that the in-game currency and the leveling up and the upgrades within a match worked. But I actually kind of like the way that they do it in Gigantic. Where in games like Smite, which I believe they also have this aspect in games such as Dota and League of Legends, is where you purchase like upgrades or items that your hero uses, and it kind of makes you more powerful, or makes you quicker, or withstand more hits. But you kind of earn, and the way you do that in those games is you earn gold throughout the game, and you get gold from killing minions or killing another player, and then you kind of just earn gold again just by kind of ticking through the game as well. The longer the match goes, the more you will earn. However, in Gigantic, they kind of have a similar thing, but it just kind of levels up your already pre-existing abilities. So I played a spellcaster in the last match that I played, and it just kind of made his he had like a fire attack that he kind of like did like a flamethrower type attack, and it just kind of made that like more powerful as we went along, as you could level that up.
Okay, cool. So if you're a MOBA fan like Jim is, you should check out Gigantic.
Yeah, again, it's free to play if you just want to go ahead and download it from the Xbox Live Store. And again, if you just do that, you'll just have access to the 5 or so free to play heroes. But again, I think they do have like what they're calling a Founders Pack. I believe you do get access to all the heroes that they will release. I'm not really sure how much that costs.
Okay. Sounds like a pretty interesting game.
Yeah, and the animation is pretty good. It's kind of more on the cartoony side, I would say, but
Okay.
it still fits, I think.
That doesn't bother me. I don't mind that. I like cartoony style or anime style or something like that. I sometimes prefer that over, the realistic, heavy duty graphic type of game.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So that's what you've been playing lately. I've still been playing Xenoblade Chronicles. It's the RPG I've been working on. Everybody out there who's listening knows I'm a huge RPG fan. I'm about 40 hours into the game. From what I've read, the average run through the game is usually about 60 hours. So I have another 20 hours, I guess, into the game. It's been okay. I've talked about it in the past. I think it probably would be better if I decided to play it on the Wii instead of the 3DS. It's an okay game. I've played better. I've played worse. I'm actually thinking about I might do a review on the game on the channel too after I'm done playing it. So that's maybe I don't want to say a whole lot about it because I'm kind of thinking about doing a review for the game and putting it up on the channel, and just where I'll pretty much just talk about kind of my thoughts and what I felt about the game. It's not going to be any type of heavy duty review or anything like that. It's more so going to be, I guess I'll probably maybe even call it my sort of review, because it's not necessarily going to be a review. It's just going to be my thoughts on the game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. And that's it. I haven't really been playing anything else. So, Jim, we'll move on to our next topic that we always talk about. Any new games or new things gaming related that are on your radar?
Um, not really as of yet. I'm still, again contemplating some things, but nothing new has really popped onto my radar as of yet. I'm still gonna, wait on some more news about it. But I guess the only thing might be Call of Duty World War II, because I mean the I played, I think it was Call of Duty 2, and I also played the Medal of Honor games, which were World War II themed, and I really enjoyed their actually campaign modes. So at this moment, I'm kind of thinking of it. Maybe I might, pick it up at some point. Because I think it, from the trailer at least, it looks like it would be a really, cool game into the history, and really get to experience some of those battles.
Yeah, and you're a big history buff, so I mean, something game like that appeals to you. I mean, if people couldn't tell, you talking about that Rise game where you're like in the old Roman Empire, and you're totally a history guy, so it makes sense that a game like that would appeal to you.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's kind of how I've always, seen some games. If it looks good and it has a good historical topic, I definitely check it out.
Cool, cool. So I just have a few games that I want to talk about that are on my radar. First is a RPG that came out. Now it's only come out on PC. I'm hoping, and I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it coming out on a console or anything like that. But Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky third, or third chapter, or whatever you want to call it, recently came out on PC. The first game came out on, at least in the West, here in the States. The first game came out on the PSP. We got that here, and then the second game was a download only. I know you could get it on the Vita. I'm guessing you could probably get it on the PS4 as well. And then the third and final game just came out, but so far it's only on the PC. So I don't know if we'll get any type of version of it on the console or whatnot. But yeah, it's definitely on my radar because I'd like to see it come out on a console, whether it be physical or download. That would be. Yeah, I would just like to get the game here so I could play it. And then another game, I recently saw a review on YouTube about it. It's a point and click adventure game, but it looked pretty cool. It's a game by the name of Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse. It looked really cool. Like we were talking about earlier, it has sort of like a cartoony style. I like the point and click games. I think that they're always fun. So yeah, it's definitely on my radar. I want to try to pick it up. I believe it's on the Xbox One and PS4.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something I want to be on the lookout for. All right, our last and final topic. Jim, have you recently bought or picked up any games?
Not any physical games. Again, the two games, Ryse, Son of Rome, and Gigantic, were two games that I downloaded. Which, again, I just am really pleasantly surprised with the offers that you get from Gold. 3 games a month, for $10 a month, which I think that's pretty interesting. And a lot of these games, they're a few years old, but I mean, if all of those games are valued at least $10, you could definitely technically get $30 worth of game, for your $10 a month.
Yeah.
Which I know one of the games that's on there for the month of May is season 2 of the Walking Dead game, which I was kind of thinking about downloading, but having not played the first season myself, I kind of decided against it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of just one of those things where you play it and then you just kind of, go ahead and remove it from your hard drive.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I speaking of downloaded games, last week the PlayStation Network was having a big sale because it was like their Golden Week sale. Apparently, Golden Week is a big like holiday in Japan where companies, give good deals or sales on stuff. So PlayStation Network was having a big sale for Golden Week, and I actually downloaded Mega Man Legends on my PS Vita. Um, I own the original game, but I own the Nintendo 64 version of the game, and it's called Mega Man 64 on there. Um, but yeah, I downloaded that because it was like a $1.99 on the sale. So I was like, I can't beat that price, and plus now I can play the game on a mobile device, so that's cool. So I downloaded that because it was a good price. And like I mentioned earlier, I picked up a Nintendo Switch a couple weeks ago. I hooked it all up and set it up and everything, but I've yet to actually sit down and play a game, mainly because I'm still playing Xenoblade Chronicles. But yeah, I got a Nintendo Switch, and when I bought the console, I also bought Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with it. So that'll be another game I'm excited to play at some point. I'm not gonna play it next though, because I think next, like I said, I'm gonna play Persona 5. But yeah, I bought Zelda, and also, and Jim, you're already aware of this because I got Jim to pick this game up for me on Amazon and get the 20% off. But I bought Mario Kart 8 for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I haven't played that yet either. I'm really excited though. It seems like it has a fun online multiplayer that you can play, so I'm kind of excited to jump online and play Mario Kart. And I'm not a big online gamer, but I think it'll be kind of fun to play Mario Kart 8 online.
Yeah, I think that would, that and Zelda are probably the two games that I would, really look forward to if I ever did, go ahead and decide to purchase a Nintendo Switch. Again, I'm still waiting to see what other games are going to be coming out. So you said that you bought Legend of Zelda. That it didn't come with the Nintendo Switch?
Oh no, nothing comes with the Nintendo Switch yet. They don't have a bundle yet. A lot of people speculate that probably around the holidays is when they'll probably come out with some sort of bundle where you get the console and a game. But yeah, they don't offer a game yet with the Switch. It's just the console when you buy it. So you have to pay an additional $60 for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'm excited about the Switch. Like I've said, I'm really into handheld gaming lately, so I'm excited for the Switch. All right. Well, I guess unless you have anything else that you want to talk about, Jim, that pretty much covers all the topics that we want to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I don't have anything further. Just, again, a thank you to all the listeners out there. And, if you liked the video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Share our video, leave us a comment. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell.
Yeah. And I don't really have anything else that I want to add. Just like I mentioned, I'm thinking about doing the sort of review on Xenoblade Chronicles, and I think I'm going to be doing some collection videos too. I think the first collection video I maybe want to try to do is a video on my console collection. So be on the lookout for that. Thinking about maybe trying to record that video next weekend. So be on the lookout for that. I also want to do some collection videos for my games as well. So be on the lookout for that. Like Jim said, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. all that good stuff. So until next time, have a good night, and we'll see you next time.